You can start, Amrit.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I hope all of you all are doing very well. And to everybody who's watching us from different parts of the world, a big welcome to Story Ka Pitara, yet another Story Ka Pitara by Early Child Development Forum. So I, Amrit Napal, I welcome you all today for today's session. And today we're going to be doing some exciting stories. Now, before I move ahead, I would just like to introduce myself. I am Amrit Napal and I'm an early years expert, and I have been working in the field of early years for more than 18 years now. And I'm also a storyteller. I love narrating stories to children as well as teachers. And today I bring you a unique storytelling concept. I'm not sure how many of you all have seen or heard this story earlier, but I think if you are a parent or a teacher, this is a great storytelling idea for you in your classroom as well as your home. So let's get started. The technique that I'm going to show you today is called as draw and tell. Draw and tell is a very unique storytelling technique wherein the narrator or the storyteller says a very short story and draws side by side. And it's the children of your class or at your home that become the illustrators. So all you have to do is listen to my story and look at what I'm doing. And with your hands, follow the same thing. Before we start, all I would like you to do is bring some papers. It could be a blank notebook or any empty paper that you have at home. You could also be reusing your printer papers, and you could bring in some crayons or sketch pens or pens or any other writing equipment that you like. So I'll just give you 30 seconds to go grab your writing material so that we can begin the story. Very well. So are you ready to become my illustrators? You know, illustrator is a person who draws beautiful pictures in our picture book or beautiful pictures in our story. So you are going to be our illustrator for today. So I hope you've grabbed your paper. So as and when I'm saying the story, I would like all of you to listen to my story and draw along with me. And this technique is called as draw and tell. That's a very simple technique. I hope all of you all can see my blank sheet of white paper clearly. So let's begin. I hope you're all ready. So please keep your big elephant ears wide open and your big eagle eyes right there, and your working hands quietly working. So one day, early in the morning, I woke up, and you draw a straight line like this. Good job. I walked down to the beach, and over my sailboat, I went. And as I pushed over the lake, I saw the sun come up. And while the sun was come up, I smiled from year to year looking at the sun. You know why? Because I love sailing. Well, students, that was just a starter to my storytelling of draw and tell. Unique, right? So I will just show you my draw and tell one more time so that we can move ahead to the next one. Can you all see my draw and tell? Wonderful. Let's move to the next draw and tell. I hope you're catching up with me while I am saying the story. And are you ready for the next draw and tell? I hope you have your papers along with you ready. And I hope this time You have your big listening ears like the elephant and your big eagle eyes wide open and your working hands on the paper. So let's get started. And as we move ahead, let's move to the next story. So I'm going to be showing you my writing paper right here, like this. Can you all see my paper? Very well. I know all of you all can see my paper. One day, I lost my dog. My dog is named Leo. That's me right there. That's me right there. And I am about to go and find my dog. I looked here and I looked there, but I could not find my Leo anywhere. So then I took help from my friends. That's you, my little illustrators. Please help me find my Leo. So, children, that's me right there, standing right in front of you. And there's a child who came and told me, why don't you go and find Leo in the park near your house? When I got to the park, I accidentally stepped into a pile of bumblebees. And you know how these bumblebees are? These bumblebees swarmed me all around like this. And I wanted to get away from these bumblebees. So I ran and I ran and I ran. And suddenly I saw a pond of water. And I jumped into this pond of water. When I swam to the other end of the pond, I saw that I still needed to find my little Leo. So what did I do? I ran and I ran up the hill that I saw. I saw a hill right there. I ran up the hill to find my dog Leo. It was my pet dog Leo, but I could not see my Leo. Instead, I saw two doors, door number 1, and then I saw door number 2. Now, each of these doors had a door knob, and they were right here. Doorknob 1 and doorknob 2. I opened both the doors, but I was too sad to know that I still could not find Leo. So I ran down one side of the hill with tears rolling down my eyes because I was very sad. I still could not find Leo. Then I ran down the other side of the hill. I still could not find Leo. Have you seen my dog, Leo? Well, friends, if I were to do this in the class, you were right. All the children would come and quickly say, yes, that's right. There is Leo right on the board. So, students, these are two different draw and tell techniques. And I find this draw and tell technique excellent for educators and for parents to do it along with your children. You could change the name of the dog from Leo to Bingo or Beauty or Stella or whatever the name of your dog is, and try this story doing it at home with your students. You will see that you'll have wonderful listeners and wonderful storytellers by the end of the session. So children and teachers, this is one kind of storytelling technique called as draw and tell. This is a very special technique, and most of us do not use this technique into our classrooms. And the only reason that I'm here to demonstrate this technique is because I want you to employ a host of storytelling techniques. It's quite easy to do a read aloud in a classroom where I take a book, a storybook, and I read from it. It's easy to do that, but let's try something different in the way of draw and tell. I'll just get my draw and tell up and close. That was quite easy for you to draw. So we've shown you two different draw and tells right now. One with the I Love Sailing. Now, I Love Sailing is a popular draw and tell by Anna Clark. This is not my story. This is Anna Clark's story, and it is a very popular story of this draw and tell. And this is the other technique of draw and tell, popularly called as bingo, bingo, bingo. But I like to rename it to my dog's name. That's Leo. So why don't you try this storytelling technique in your classroom? Let's try another one. Are you ready to do that? Wonderful. Let me show you a third draw and tell. That's only if you're ready. So this draw and tell involves another character. Let's see. I hope you have your papers right in front of you. One day, in a house, there lived little Timmy. Now, little Timmy lived in a house that was made in the letter T. Can you see this house right here, my dear friends? Yes, you can see it clearly right now. Now, Timmy's house had two rooms, room number 1 and then room number 2. Now, each of these rooms had a window and chimney. There was little green grass growing outside Timmy's house, like this. One day, Timmy thought he would like to go and meet his friend. And his friend's name was Susie. Now, Susie lived in this house made with the letter S. And Timmy went all the way to Susie's house. Tra la 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 la. And Timmy knocked at Susie's door. Knock, knock. Susie opened the door and Timmy asked, Susie, can I borrow some milk for my kitty? Susie said, yes, why not? Kitty is your pet. Why don't you borrow some milk? So Susie took Timmy all the way down to the basement to get some milk. And coming up, they slipped and they spilled all the milk. So they went back down again to get some milk. Now, as they got the milk again, Timmy thought, I'm getting late and my kitty is really hungry. So why don't I take a little shortcut to my house? And while he was taking the shortcut to his house, he was singing this song. Tra la 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 la, I will go down the hill. I will come up the hill. I will go down the hill and I will come up the hill till I reach my house. Dear friends, he came home and he gave some milk to his pet kitty. Have you seen or guessed who is his pet? Yes, you're right. This pet kitty is a cat right here. This is what you have drawn. You have drawn Kitty, the cat. So students and teachers, this is a wonderful way to do draw and tell technique in your classrooms and use different draw and tell techniques that I have shown you today in today's session. So I hope you liked my draw and tell techniques. We've shown you 3 short stories. Now, believe me, these stories don't take a lot of time. You can easily do it on your whiteboard, green board, or blackboard into your classroom. And you can ask the children to replicate in their notebooks, or you can always recycle paper. But wait, that's not it for today. I have another wonderful storytelling technique. But this technique is called the paper technique. Just like the draw and tell technique, it doesn't take much time. So are you ready for my next story? Wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that you have liked all the techniques and you are ready with this technique. All right. All I need is a blank sheet of paper like this and a pair of scissors. Okay, so that's good to see. Now, all I want you to do is I want you to fold this paper into half like this, like I am showing it to you on the screen. Can you fold your paper into half? Wonderful. Now that you have folded your paper, just neatly press it down on this side. Press it down neatly. Now, I'm not yet started my story. So you can use blank sheets of paper, reuse the papers that go waste from the printer, the school printer, and you can collect plenty of paper like that. So now that you've taken paper, you can give children a child-friendly scissors. And this storytelling technique works very well for children who are above 4.5. So that is your lower KG as well as your upper KG. And then obviously grade 1 and 2, it works wonders because they can do it all by themselves. All that they have to do is listen to your instructions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be cutting a semicircle out of this paper. So gently cut a semicircle from this paper. And I'm going to be doing it right in front of your eyes. I don't need a measurement. Just roughly, understandably cut a semicircle from the paper that you have. It could be a rough semicircle. Now, this almost looks like a semicircle to me. And this is what you've got. So one day, there lived a mother bird and a father bird. And the mother bird and the father bird both decided to build a nest. And as and when they built a nest, they caught hold of some twigs, some leaves, some dried flowers, some dried grass, some small stems, and they gathered all this material and they made a nest. Do you know that birds are natural recyclers? So whatever they find in their environment, in the garden, near the homes, they quickly gather all that material and they made a nest, and they took this nest on top of a tree. They built a beautiful nest. Now, the mother bird laid a small, beautiful egg in the nest, and she gently tucked the egg in. Carefully tucked it in. She sat on the egg, ensuring that this little egg would remain warm. The sun came out, she would still be sitting on the egg to protect the egg. The rain came. She sat on the egg to protect it. The thunder came. The lightning came. The storm came. A big gush of wind came. All the time, she was sitting on the egg, protecting this little egg all the time and keeping it nice and warm. And while the mother bird was looking after the egg, one day she made 2 little friendly bugs her friend. So we've got one friendly bug right here. Can you see my friendly bug right here? Wonderful. And on the other side, can you make another friendly bug? Like this right here. Well, now both these friendly bugs always gave company to the mother bird. They would chitter chatter, jibber jabber all day long, getting her news from all around the farm and the nearby places. The mother bird would spend all her day like that. And one day, while she was chitter chattering and jibber jabbering, she heard a crack. And you're going to be taking your scissors and you're going to be cutting the little paper. And then, after a few minutes, she heard a loud crack. And you know what happened? As she heard the big crack, do you know what came out? Yes, you're right. A little birdie came out of the egg, just like this. Just going to be taking this little crack that you made. Can you see the little birdie right there? Yeah, that's the little birdie that we've made. Now, this is a small storytelling technique where we use a piece of paper and we make our own central character. Now, what you could also do is you could allow the children and make this like a proper headgear. So this is not only a storytelling technique, but also a prop that you can use as an activity to tell children about this story. So, right, I hope you enjoyed this storytelling time that we have shared with you. And I hope you liked today's Storica Pitara, because in today's session, in Storica Pitara with ECDF, we have tried to bring in two different storytelling techniques for you. One was the draw and tell that you saw. Other is called the paper storytelling technique, where we use a single paper. And as we are narrating the story, we also use our hands or a little scissors to craft out of it, where we can make the central character of the story, as well as the craft article from the story. So I hope you enjoyed today's session, and we will see you soon with another Storica Pitara, with another Storica Pitara. And with the next Storica Pitara, you will have a new storyteller and maybe a few new storytelling techniques, a few new stories. So stay tuned with ECDF. Thank you so much.